I want to ask you about this because it's a two-way street. Donald Trump has been upset with you for a very long time, over a decade. Yes. Do you see why? I'm a little edgy. I spend about 90% of my waking hours tweeting criticism of this administration. It started from The View, yes. On the show, we joked that he's flip-flopped on everything except you. And that's actually true. Did you believe Melania had been playing the role of the quiet, obedient wife for years? When Rosie O'Donnell appeared with Seth Meyers to reveal the reality behind the Trump marriage, she challenged that image. What was surprising wasn't just what Rosie said, but also how Seth Meyers encouraged her to share these details on television. Melania's response gives us insight into how accurate these claims might be. Before we continue, Trump's public relations team is likely scrambling. If you like this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. More than 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs nothing and really helps us. Have you pressed subscribe yet? Great, thanks. Now, back to the video. Nobody has been more critical of Donald Trump than Rosie O'Donnell, who has been on his long list of adversaries for over 20 years. She's remained a persistent critic in his mind, which is why her recent comments on his marriage have caused quite a stir. You might recall Tara Conner, I believe that was her name, a young woman who won a Miss USA title and was involved in a controversy related to her behavior at the time. Trump publicly said he had forgiven her. This young woman was reportedly involved in some questionable behavior at the time. Trump held a press conference before The View aired an episode addressing the issue, which was around 2006. During her time on The View, Rosie O'Donnell did something rare. She called Donald Trump a snake oil salesman live on TV while he was criticizing Tara Conner's personal life. That moment exposed a contradiction because Trump himself had a history that was far from spotless. He had multiple marriages and avoided the draft during the Vietnam War. His brand was built more on showmanship than on moral authority. So, while Trump was presenting himself as a figure of morality, Rosie quietly called out the inconsistency. She didn't yell or shout. She calmly stated the truth with sarcasm and confidence, making it clear she was about to win the argument. This caused a strong reaction from Trump. When someone publicly calls him out, he doesn't just move on. He obsesses, retaliates, and spends years trying to damage their reputation, sometimes forgetting the bigger picture. His typical response was to attack Rosie verbally, calling her weak and low energy, and likely threatening legal action. He also demanded a recount of his approval ratings, but instead of silencing her, his reaction amplified the situation. The public watched the clash between reason and ego unfold like live theater, and it resonated deeply. This wasn't just a disagreement, it was a psychological confrontation that revealed how fragile Trump's image is. When a public figure's identity depends on image rather than integrity, any crack becomes a major weakness. Rosie didn't just expose a crack. She held up a mirror and forced Trump to look at himself while he insisted he was America's moral compass. She reminded everyone that his moral compass often points to self-interest. Suddenly, the audience realized something more concerning. Trump may not believe in principles, but in perception. When that perception is threatened, he panics, rants, drafts legal threats, and demands apologies from those who owe him none. Rosie didn't attack Trump's usual superficial traits, like his appearance or mannerisms. Instead, she targeted the hypocrisy and contradictions of a man who spent his life pursuing women and power, but pretended to be a moral authority. That's why this confrontation became legendary, because it exposed Trump for what he really is. Personality is often based on performance rather than principle. His whole approach increasingly looks less like leadership and more like a high school play where the lead forgot his lines and started shouting instead, especially when he talks about morality. Every time he tries to present himself as an ethical leader, people remember moments like Rosie calmly standing as if she were a therapist, while he reacted angrily to being called out. This wasn't just a simple TV argument. It was a sign of what was to come, a future where he lashes out at anyone who questions him, while comedians and critics continue to mock him relentlessly. When your mindset works the way his does, you don't learn from mistakes. You double down, demand loyalty, and try to rewrite history as if it were written in pencil. The real problem is that every time he tries to fight back or demands respect, he hasn't earned. People don't hear strength. They hear panic and noise from someone still trying to avoid the truth. Since this campaign began, it's clear he has faced multiple bankruptcies, got a large part of his wealth from family, and has been accused of mistreating contractors. If he gets indicted, it would be significant if someone like Mueller personally serves him papers. Most public figures would shrug off harsh criticism, move on, or even laugh it off, but not him. When Rosie O'Donnell criticized him, he reacted with extreme anger, calling her names like fat and loser and accusing her of being ugly inside and out, all because she spoke truth some people listened to. That was only the start. Years later, during a presidential debate, when asked about his history of insulting women, he singled out Rosie O'Donnell rather than other women he has insulted or other critics. This shows how deeply personal this grudge is. Rosie didn't just criticize him once. She became a frequent and vocal critic, appearing on talk shows and comedy specials to expose his business dealings and character. She gathered extensive information about him, not just from headlines, but from people who knew him well. One notable connection she made was with Michael Cohen, Trump's former personal attorney and fixer, who served time in prison after cooperating with investigations. Rosie visited Cohen multiple times, not for sympathy visits, but to get insight into Trump's private dealings. Cohen was deeply involved in Trump's inner circle, handling sensitive matters and scandals. Through Cohen, Rosie gained a perspective beyond public statements, understanding more about Trump's business and personal life. The cameras weren't rolling, and now he was sitting in a prison cell, having heart-to-heart conversations with Rosie O'Donnell, of all people, one of Trump's most outspoken critics, who somehow turned betrayal into bonding. While most of us were busy watching Netflix documentaries about cult leaders, Rosie was quietly gathering information straight from the source, like a CIA agent disguised with humor. What's truly remarkable is that she didn't rush to share the story the moment she heard it. No, she waited, letting it sit and grow stronger until it was powerful enough to capture the nation's attention. She held on to these revelations for years, allowing them to mature until the perfect moment arrived to reveal them. That moment came when she appeared on Seth Meyers' show, another sharp critic of Trump who knows exactly how to get guests to open up without hesitation. This wasn't just celebrity gossip. It was a rare look behind the carefully crafted image Trump projects. Through her friendship with Michael Cohen, Rosie gained access to details Trump has spent millions trying to keep secret. Separate bedrooms, the contractual nature of the relationship, and a cold, transactional arrangement that felt less like love and more like a business deal gone wrong. Suddenly, the fairy tale Trump always sold about his marriage looked about as genuine as a signed copy of his memoirs written by someone else. So yes, this isn't just another late-night joke. It's insider information combined with inside secrets. A comedian armed with truth, timing, and direct access to the man who once managed Trump's worst instincts. While Trump probably thinks he can dismiss these stories with a well-timed tweet or a meltdown on Truth Social, he's missing the point. When your enemies have proof, not just opinions, you don't just lose the argument, you lose control of the narrative. And if there's one thing Trump fears more than anything, it's losing control. Rosie described an awkward scene, an escalator ride with a fake crowd cheering, "Here's my wife who loves me," while Melania wondered how to get out of the situation. When Rosie warned her not to dwell on negativity because Trump wasn't going to win, she was being realistic. Most people agreed he wasn't going to succeed. The real bombshell was quietly prepared in the most unexpected place, a late-night comedy show. While Trump ranted about fake news, Seth Meyers expertly transformed light-hearted conversations into confessions, and his interview with Rosie was no exception. Meyers is not your average talk show host. Instead of going for easy laughs, he combines sharp humor with serious journalism, making him perfect for drawing out Trump's marital secrets from someone with first-hand knowledge. His show is known for dissecting Trump's claims piece by piece. The relaxed setting, casual seating, and playful banter about their mutual dislike of Trump helped Rosie feel comfortable. Seth created an atmosphere more like friends chatting at a bar than a formal interview. And it worked. You could see the moment when the jokes gave way to serious revelations. The audience realized they were hearing something confidential, something that was supposed to stay locked away. The details centered on Trump and Melania's marriage, which appeared more like a business arrangement than a romantic partnership. Seth skillfully asked questions that seemed unrelated, like Rosie's ties to former Trump associates, or even her favorite breakfast cereal, to keep the conversation flowing naturally. This put Rosie in the right mindset to share what she had learned about the Trumps. When Rosie started revealing the nature of Donald and Melania's relationship, Seth knew exactly when to push and when to hold back. Playing the surprised host, he'd ask a question, and Rosie, now in full reveal mode, would provide more details than expected. The audience's reactions ranged from gasps to laughter, hanging on every word. Rosie described their separate living arrangements and the cold, businesslike way they communicated, a far cry from the image of a loving couple. As Rosie continued, Seth's subtle reactions, raised eyebrows, wow moments, encouraged her to keep exposing more about the troubled marriage. Even before the interview ended, the production team knew they had something big. Clips were quickly prepared for social media, and Rosie's most surprising revelations went viral on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.